For this video, I'm going to go over the sine and cosine, tan, all of the trig functions for pi over 6 and pi over 3 angles. I'm doing those together because they just swap values. So uh, cosine and sine are going to go between the two values of 1/2 and root 3 over 2. So you just have to know that they're going to be one or the other for these angles. If we look at which number is a bigger number, let's just keep note that this is a bigger number. So this root 3 over 2 is the bigger of the two numbers. So let's start with our over 6. So pi over 6. And let's also keep in mind that x is cosine theta and y is sine theta. Okay, so pi over 6, we know that it's either sine of pi over 6 is going to be 1/2 or root 3 over 2, and cosine will be the other one. So they're just going to go back and forth between these two values. So for this one, I look at, if I were to draw this triangle down, which value is bigger, my x value or my y value? And here you can see that the x value is going to be bigger than the y. So x is bigger than y, which means cosine is bigger than sine here. So cosine of pi over 6 is going to be the larger number, and sine of pi over 6 is just going to be the other one. And then if we come up here to pi over 3, so we're at pi over 3. And if I do the same thing, I draw a line down and make a triangle. You can look and ask, is the x, so remember x is cosine, y is sine. So which one's going to be bigger, the x or the y value? You can see from the picture that the x value is smaller, the y value is bigger, so sine's going to be the bigger one over here. So sine of pi over 3 is going to be the larger one, which is square root of 3 over 2, and cosine of pi over 3 is going to be 1/2. So you can also see that they flip over here. Cosine is root 3 over 2, sine is 1/2, and then they switch over, and sine becomes root 3 over 2, and cosine 1/2. So if you know those in the first quadrant, they're going to be the same in all the other quadrants. So at this point, you should know the unit circle. So we know over here, we have 2 pi over 3. Sine and cosine are going to take on the same values, but you have to add the sign. So over here, remember, x is cosine theta, y is sine. So over here, our cosines are going to be negative. So cosine of 2 pi over 3 is just going to be negative 1/2. So it takes on the same value here. It's just we have to add that negative. And sine of 2 pi over 3 is going to be a positive because our y's are positive over here. So it's going to be positive root 3 over 2. If we come over here, let's just come over here to this angle, which is 7 pi over 6. Our cosine of 7 pi over 6 is going to be, our cosine is going to be negative because x is negative over here. So it's going to be negative. And remember, the pi over 6's cosine takes on the bigger value, which is square root of 3 over 2. And sine of 7 pi over 6. Sine is also going to be negative because my y values are negative over here. So it's going to be negative 1/2. So you can go around and do all of the different angles around the unit circle. And then we can also talk about tan and cotan and all of those different angles. So let's just go through that. So if our angle is pi over 6, we know that sine of pi over 6 is going to be the smaller because that is going to be where y is smaller than x. So it's going to be the smaller value of 1/2 and root 3 over 2. So we know that it's going to be 1/2. And over here, y values are positive, so my sign is positive. So cosine of pi over 6 is going to be the larger one, which is square root of 3 over 2. Over here, my x values are positive, so my cosine is positive. And to find tan of pi over 6, I'm just going to do sine over cosine, but the denominators always cancel, so I just get 1 over root 3. And then I can find all the other values by just flipping. So So I know that cosecant of pi over 6 is just going to be sine flipped, which is just 2 over 1 or 2. Secant of pi over 6 is just 2 over root 3. And cotan of pi over 6 is root 3. So for some practice problems, you should be able to find just like what's sine of 7 pi over 6. What's tan of 2 pi over 3? What's cosine of 5 pi over 3? What's secant of 5 pi over 6?